one hell of a game. And if I recall correctly, I don't know, have you seen the games recently?
Yeah, so the
was
first...
it Frost? Or
they played on Frost. I think that was game 2. You're talking about the one with the Hellbat drop on the tanks?
No, I just know that that very first game was still a super exciting game where Major put himself in a pretty good position. And even that second map again, like I remember despite Taeja winning that deciding series 2-0, Major still played really well. And you could show that you could see that that victory early that day was not a fluke. Those were not some lucky wins. Taeja or Major's TVT is just really damn good. But I mean, there's probably no foreigner Terran out there that studies Korean TVT more than Major though.
I think I'm getting into your head a bit, and you seem to really like keep a mind on those pivotal moments when like the game really swings. There was the game that we actually saw with those two was like these tanks had the seat. It was like Taeja was up against the ropes. Major had him on Frost. He had the production line, he had the ramp control, but he didn't move his tanks far forward enough. There were 3 tanks against 1, and the 1 tank actually killed all 3. Because they just weren't far up enough. And, you know, this is the type of thing where games can come down to, like, yeah, you're saying. Major played so well in that game, and yet, with, like, the smallest mistake, Taeja was able to capitalize on it, and that's the type of play that I think we might see here in the final match from both of our players.
Well, what I do know, guys, is that this is going to be the most exciting best of 3 of the day. Either result is fantastic, but this is where it matters. Tournament live on the line for both these fantastic Terran players. Major, our foreign hope against Taeja, one of the absolute best players in the world, and he has been for the last 2 years. This is WCS America. Our first game is going to be played on Yongsu. Well, we saw how that last Yongsu game went, but I'm sure that this won't be a 6-minute game. Kibbles, you can go ahead and introduce our
Thank you, sir.
Amazing players.
In the top right-hand corner of the map, amazing player number 1. He is blue. He is Major.
A true Pokemon master. Major has a serious obsession with Pokemon.
Yeah?
But it's alright. It doesn't seem to slow down his SC2 skill all that much.
No, his APM's higher than Taeja right now, man. That's not... Nope, never mind. He's blue. In the bottom left, the red player. From Liquid, it's Taeja. And well, I agree with you, Roddy. I think we're in for a really exciting, potentially the most exciting match that we've seen.
Yeah, this should be the absolute highlight of the day. This should be the best series. I think both players are absolutely going to fight till the bitter end. There is no such thing as a 5 or 6 minute game here. You most likely see Taeja play a little more safe as well. And he cannot underestimate Major, and I'm sure that he wouldn't underestimate Major. I know a lot of cases in the past there have been some Korean players who's like, you know, you play a foreigner, easy, let's move on to the next round. I am sure that Taeja does not underestimate Major. He knows how good it is. He knows that Major has been in Korea for a long time, even participating in Pro League. You do not underestimate a Terran player like Major. Major has been widely considered to be one of the absolute best foreign Terran players in the world for the longest time. He even got love from the likes of Idra, and we all know that, you know, as adorable as Greg is, he doesn't really show a whole lot of love to to players that don't play his race. But even Idra has said often in the past that he thinks that Major is one of the absolute best players we have outside of Korea. So you don't underestimate him, and I'm sure that Taeja won't.
One of the things that's always really entertained me about Major's play style is how unorthodox it can be. Whether you're talking about, okay, yeah, his 2 racks openings, but I've seen Major do crazy things, like building proxy factory into proxy starport to make a medevac load 4 Hellions and drop in your base on metal. This was Metropolis, actually. And this was back, you know, when, I mean, I guess we've seen that kind of stuff now, but at that point in time, you're like, what is going on? He can be a pioneer when it comes to strategies, and I think with his standard play, he's refined it to this point at such a high caliber that he can compete against the best players in the world, like Taeja.
Couldn't have said it any better. We saw an SCV scout go down for Taeja. No scout just yet for Major. This time Taeja is not going to do his funky little Reaper Marine SCV poke. He's like, last time I did that on Yongsu, that kind of backfired. Let's never do that again. So right now he lost a little bit of mining time, but you know, this is kind of what we said already as well. If you are such a good player like Taeja, you don't want to be caught off guard in the final series of the day, and you rather scout. Yes, you might slow yourself down a little bit, but you know, you rather be safe than sorry.
It's not like you're gonna
this much on the line.
It's not like you're gonna lose a mothership core or anything.
No,
yeah.
Right, Todd. Todd is not watching right now. Todd wouldn't tune in for
it.
Todd wouldn't tune in for a TVT if his life depends on it. I know my Johan and he loves StarCraft, but I'd be very surprised. Well, he is friends with Major. Maybe he's supporting Major. I don't know. We'll see.
So, openings from both players fairly similar, except for the fact that like they both delayed the command centers. But we've got Major actually is opting for some Hellion and Marine combo. Drop typically, you know, hits around 630-ish or so. And Taeja, same style, except he is on the 1 base, but he is actually opting for quick cloaked Banshees.
This one little Marco Polo has made his way to the other side of Yangsu and has seen that there is no new world over here. He's now going to peek up the ramp to see if there is a civilization. And yes, there is. Oh, so unfortunately, rest in peace, Marco Polo.
Severely wounded.
This is going to be interesting, Kibbles, because right now it's very likely that Taeja is just going to send his Banshee across the map. It will find a pretty exposed base. It will do some serious work. However, if he sends that Banshee across the map, does he have enough at home to deal with these 3 Hellions and with these Marines? Or is he going to keep the Banshee with his army? I guess we're about to find out.
I like the position that he has on the ramp, and the Banshee looks like it's going to spot the medevac. Will he turn around or not? Because that Viking is already started up.
Well, Taeja just does not care. He's taking a risk over here. He knows it. He knows it's a risk he could potentially get rewarded for. So far, it's a pretty nice engagement for him. Oh, not all of the Hellions were shooting from Major. I think Taeja has done this pretty successfully.
Oh, so well. The Hellions getting fantastic shots on those Marines, and although Major had a really nice lift into the medevac, it wasn't enough. The Viking is going to be on the field, but 1 scan is all that's available. And so if he can dodge that scan, do a pretty good job of that, he'll be just fine for the moment.
You know, in Warcraft 3, we had the Gyrocopter, which said that he laughs in the face of danger. That's just what Taeja did over there.
Yeah.
He sees that push coming. He's like, yeah, I can keep this unit over here and see if I'm safe. He just sends that Banshee across the map. You know, he just relies on his skill, knowing that he has what it takes to deal with that if he doesn't mess up, and he didn't mess up. And look at this Banshee doing some work. And that's all because Taeja made that ballsy call, that he wasn't afraid to just send this Banshee out while he knew he was going to be under pressure. Taeja with an overwhelming amount of damage over here. 13 workers have gone down, and the Banshee is still alive.
It is. It's very low on mana at this point, so it's doomed. Well, he's actually not going to chase it, even though there's another scan. What really surprised me there was that he didn't delay the damage, and you know what? It costed him too much.
You know, this kind of stuff does bring a huge smile on my face, because Taeja, you know, there is so much on the line. This is the final game. If Major somehow gets a much better engagement there, if Major has 3 Hellions against those 2 Hellions from Taeja, and there is a medevac to heal those Marines, if that goes a little better for Taeja, or for Major, Taeja takes a huge risk of being forced to pull SOVs and just lose so much, because he has almost no units and he only has 2 production facilities running at that moment. But he just like, he sends his Banshee across the map. He's like, I got this. I'm freaking Taeja, man. You know how many tournaments I won? Sends that Banshee across the map and just straight up wins the game because he's not afraid.
Yeah, and that Banshee winning the game, like, the scan was there for Major. He had a Viking, he had 2 Marines, and a Widow Mine on the way. And I think he wanted to wait for that Widow Mine to actually spawn, because he didn't throw down the scan. But the whole time it happened, 9 workers went down, then 2 Marines, and then 2 more Marines. Then the scan went down as that last Marine was dying and the Widow Mine arrived. And at that point, when the Banshee didn't die, it's like, okay, I took too much damage, so...
That dance of the Banshee was amazing. That dance of the Banshee was amazing as well. It's like left, right. And Widow Mine is like running all over the place. But just wouldn't get in range. Very well done there by Taeja. That game was brought to you by Kingston HyperX. Big shout out to Kingston for supporting us throughout all these years. We're going to head over to our final small commercial break, and then we'll be right back with Taeja versus Major Game 2 over here in WCS America.
Hello, I'm Acer Scarlett, and you're watching WCS North America.
Welcome back to WCS America. It's been probably our fastest broadcast that we ever done, or maybe our shortest broadcast. But we're not